Welcome back to the Creative Process Podcast, episode 86. Nice to have you guys back. If you haven't listened to the last episode, 85 with Lysander Caceres, that came out, day of recording, honestly, right now. The 27th is today, the day we're recording. It came out today. So this is me talking a year in the past. Go watch episode 85. It was fantastic. It was a great conversation with Lysander. Yeah, go watch that. Today, obviously, you know who we have on from the title and from the thumbnail and from the wherever you saw this. Sooner, welcome. How's it going?
Good to be here. Good to be here. I appreciate you reaching out to me and having me on and everything like that. Looking forward to a good conversation here.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. We were chatting a little bit before the podcast. I had Scott on prior. The goal is to have like everyone from your guys' little group on.
Yeah.
Biggie, Rob, Jayhawk. Well, you're in that group, right? You're in that group.
Yeah, all those guys, are in us, and the group gets a little bit bigger than that too, right? We've got guys like Fluffy and Deadly Dill. Scott's in that group. Jay, Rob, E. There's a handful of us that are in there. Even guys like the Clean Foul are kind of in that group. So there's it kind of like. It's like those circle of friends things that you see on Twitter where it's like you've got your close circle, slightly expanded circle, expanded from there. So, and it's not to say that like you're not any closer with anyone in like the first circle than the third circle. Like everyone's a homie. There's just people that you talk to a little bit more often than others. Right. But you're all still close with everybody. At least that's how I look at it, at least.
100%. Yeah. 100%. I would agree with that. But yeah, that's my goal. I gotta get the whole crew on, man. I've been wanting to branch out into content creators and not just designers. That's been the main guest pool on this podcast. Granted, because that's where I reside in my career. So it's like it's very easy to grab connections and be like, hey, would you like to talk about what we do? They're like, oh, yeah, sure. But yeah, it's always nice talking to content creators and people who deal with content on a daily basis rather than just designers. It's fantastic. It's a different side of everything, So it's always a good conversation. I guess for the viewers, if you haven't listened to Scott Simmons' episode, I can't remember the number off the top of my head. Go listen to that one. It was a fantastic conversation. Learned a little bit more about him as well after connecting with him for a while. So, but yeah, man, why don't you take time, introduce yourself to the people that don't really know who you are, and then we can get into what we kind of have slated today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Kris. That's my legal government name, as they say in the gaming space, right? That's my LinkedIn official name is Kris.
Right.
No, but most people in like the gaming, the content creation sector, that whole space, a lot of people know me as Sooner. The part of the reason I got that name was because I actually attended the University of Oklahoma, and it was a part of like my original gamer tag. That's how most of these things start, right? It's like your original gamer tag or your original like branding, and then that's what it ends up becoming is like your branding or your persona or whatever. But anyways, yeah. So I live here in Dallas, Texas, with my wife. And our 2-year-old daughter. We have another baby on the way. We're not sure of the gender yet. We're not sure if it's going to be boy or girl. But we do have another one along the way that's due in early February of next year. So we're pretty excited about that. And then of course we've got our two dogs here, which we're excited about. I already kind of mentioned it, but I attended the University of Oklahoma. That's kind of where honestly I got my start in this whole space in gaming and content creation and management and stuff like that. I used to run a technology store on that campus after I graduated. I ran a technology store on the campus, basically like selling computers and everything that you could think of that you'd want in a store on, to the campus, to the students, to the staff, faculty, staff, all that jazz. And I was fortunate enough because I had such a passion for gaming. I enjoyed gaming. I was approached by one of the other kind of like directors in the IT department at OU who said, "Hey, I'm starting a gaming club. I'd love for you to help out." help us get sponsors, help us get connections with people, brands in the industry, help lead the students, all that sort of stuff. So I was a part of the start of that journey back in 2017. So we're talking like what, 7-8 years now at this point, or 6-7 years at this point, that were, that it kind of kicked things off for me. So I actually started in education. And then after I left the university for a job change, I kind of started taking a more deep dive into personal content. Whether it was like picking up a camera and trying to create something myself, recording clips, making TikToks, like just kind of checking some things out. At the same time, I was becoming a moderator for guys like Big E, right? He was kind of the first guy I was moderating for. It slowly stemmed out to other people from there, just whoever I was connected with at the time. Going down that route, and then the pandemic struck. So we all know and love the pandemic back in 2020. That kind of struck. A lot of us were stuck inside. A lot of us probably turned to content creation, right? A lot of us either started streaming, and everyone probably listening to this knows, right?
Right.
I started streaming on Twitch. I started gaming a little bit more. I started going down the content creation route, making YouTube videos, TikToks, all of that jazz a little bit more seriously. And the whole reason I did that, and this is kind of the interesting part, I think, of at least my story, at least this is my interesting perspective on it, is the whole reason I did that wasn't to become the next big streamer, or it wasn't to try and make this whole branding around myself to be a streamer. It was to learn the ins and outs of everything that's going on, because I enjoy helping a lot more behind the scenes than being like the face of something. Right now, being the face of something is pretty cool, right? It's cool to have like your picture taken or to be a part of a brand or anything like that. But right. I enjoy helping people more than I enjoy just kind of being in the spotlight. And that's kind of how I've always been. Is like I like to be, kind of behind the scenes, making the magic happen as opposed to just being up front. So I was learning all these things about video editing, about creating a YouTube video or setting up a TikTok, or like how to set up a stream or how to do commands for a Twitch chat. All of this stuff I was learning and then applying that to help other people. A lot of people, I think, in the community now know me as a video editor. Funny enough, that's not actually my full-time job now, but a lot of people know me as a video editor. But the whole reason I got started as a video editor was because I was a streamer first, because I started learning all that stuff. And then I started helping out guys like Big E. I started editing for guys like the Clean Foul. I started editing just random clips here and there. And that's how I started picking up some of my first editing gigs. So fast forward all the way to like right now, I'm fortunate enough to be, I'm fortunate enough to have worked with, a dozen different creators, either editing YouTube videos or giving them YouTube advice, directions to take their content, feedback on all that stuff, SEO help. Like there's just a myriad of different things that I've helped different creators do, all because of what I started, learning my own everything by myself, really. Right. So right now my the big folks, or the big guys that I work with rather a little more consistently, are guys like Joe Woe, who most people know is the Movement King, the Warzone streamer, all that jazz. I work with like John C. Stout, working with him and his YouTube channel and all that jazz. There's a handful of other guys that I'll work with here and there. Been working with, I got a secret project I can't reveal, but this one I'm really excited about. I've talked to guys and edited, a video here or there for T-Dog Smitty, for I Am Rob, for Big E, a handful of people. So it's been a really cool journey, with everything that I've done. This is probably a longer intro than maybe we were looking for, but it's been a really cool, just like journey so far. And I like to give that kind of context, behind everything that I do, because I think I don't know that I've really put my story out there, not because I didn't want to, but because there's not a lot of people who probably know that about me, is that, I took all of these steps somewhat strategically to get to, what I'm doing now, and then eventually like where I'm looking to go.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like your career path, whether it is like it's like streamer, content creator, and then if they want to go more, more direct, it's kind of like more of a natural career path, if they want to go more direct into like content where like you're a content director, editor, you were already doing those things when you started making content for yourself. So then it's like you gather all these skills, and it's like, hey, I can market myself to be able to do this for other people and get paid to do it and make a profession out of it, and it's that like within the content space, I feel like that natural progression is very common. But then like it's also very common to see people just stick at it and do their own thing, and just and gather people, gather a team to help them execute the stuff that they're looking for. That's very humbling of you, by the way, to be like, I like working behind the scenes. I don't like being in the spotlight. I like helping people. That's really awesome to hear, because usually, like people new to the content scene, at least like when I started diving more into the content scene, people were very selfish about their image. And maybe that's just, the bad apples that I was introduced to, and other people obviously have different experience, but,
right.
Yeah, I'm finding, or I have found, my opinion has changed as time has gone on, but earlier it's like people were a little bit more selfish. They want to do it, whether it's all themselves or maybe with one or two people, but those other two people are like unknown because they don't even get any credit with anything. And it's, that stuff can go down a very slippery slope, I feel, but,
yeah, that's stuff that like I've always, I feel like that maybe that's just always been me, right? In a lot of like the positions that I've ever held, right? Or a lot of the work that I've ever done. I mean, this dates all the way back. I'm going to geek out for a little bit, but this dates all the way back to like my marching band days. So not a lot of people actually know that I'm a band geek. I'll admit it, right? You could put it out here and clip this if you want. A big band geek all through high school, all through college. I did it competitively over the summer. There's not a lot of people who know about Drum and Bugle Corps and DCI and all that stuff, but I did that stuff, for all of the years that I was eligible to do it, which is basically from 13 to 22. It was just like, it's just something that I did. And my time being involved with the various groups that I was a part of was the same thing. It was doing like the back end work, the work that like nobody saw, but was a cog in the wheel to make everything run. Right. And that's just, even in like my fraternity, that's what I did. It was all background stuff that was a cog in the wheel. And it wasn't to say that, I was, just going to like sit back and work and just do my thing and then leave. Like it gets me excited to put in work on the back end of a project and see the results of that. That's the why for me. That's the kind of the goal for me, is to see it all work, right? If I'm editing a video and I'm looking at analytics to say, okay, I've got a retention rate of this percent and I've got a drop off here. Okay, what do I need to do around this moment to change that? And then seeing the fruits of that labor is the fun part for me. It's like, hell yeah, I figured that out. Now we need to keep doing that, build upon it, and continue to get better. So yeah, that's, and I think your perception wasn't far off from mine, where people were selfish, right? Some people were very selfish, or some people were very like standoffish. It's probably because there were some streamers or brands or whatever you want to call it out there that maybe got taken advantage of, and so they want to hold that like close to their chest, which I understand to an extent. But sure. It's been a really cool experience with the fact that other content creators trust me. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've enjoyed about this whole space, is that there are people that trust me with their content, the things that they record, the things that they've been working on for X number of years, or the ideas that they have. They're trusting of me to give me that stuff and say, here, can you put this together? Can you tell a story? Can you even, colorize this or make it look pretty or whatever it is, right? Just help me with my content, because I know that you're capable. And like, that's a really cool feeling for me. That's what I'm striving for with anyone that I end up working with.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that also aids in the comfortability and confidence that, in the work that you produce and the people that you work with. If if that's the main thing, they're putting trust in you, it allows you to be more confident in your process and in, your decision making. And also, if you want to do something new, you're not shy to bring that up. It's more of like you've already put trust in, like, this is you talking to the content creator. You've already put trust into me. I have this new idea, you know, and you're not afraid to bring that up, you know. It becomes more of a open working relationship, and rather than a working, it could be, you know, it's probably more of a friendship, you know, in some instances, you know.
Every content creator that I've ever worked with, I approach it from the standpoint of like, this is a partnership. That is foundational for me. And I've been asked in the past before, you know, if you know, do you want to do video editing full time? Is this something that's like a major goal for you? You just want to sit down and edit videos all day? And I'll be honest, it's not. Like, I if from sun up to sundown, wake up to going to sleep, if I was editing videos all day, I'd get burnt out in a couple days and be sick of it, and you'd never hear from me again. It's not something I want to do, right?
Right.
But I could. So if I really wanted to, and maybe this is a little cocky, but if I really wanted to like take on a whole bunch of clients, just take content, edit it, and give it back to the creator and let them post it, I would do that. But every conversation with a creator that I've ever had is, you know, I want this to be a partnership. I want this to be, you know, it's not you and then me and then the idea, right? It's you and me, you know, working with the idea, if that makes sense. So we're on the same side of the table. We're working together. You know, we make a friendship out of it. We make a partnership out of it because we're both after the same goal. Because if I'm not successful in what I'm doing for you, then you're not going to be successful on wherever you're putting that content or wherever you're putting those ideas at. So, and I've been approached by a lot of people in the past that have hit me up and just said, "Hey, I'd love for you to edit my videos. You know, I just need a short form editor." Which, by the way, I don't like short form editing. But you know, I just need an editor. You know, someone for short form, or just someone to like tweak around with my VODs or tweak around with my gameplay or something like that, and just give it back to me. And a lot of those people I've had to tell no, and it's not because I don't respect them. A lot of them I actually looked up to, right, and still do. It's not that I didn't respect them or, you know, I didn't like them or anything like that. It was very simply because I want to approach it in a certain way. That's something that I hold, you know, when I have conversations like that. And if they don't see it like that, or they're not ready to see it like that yet, they just want to use me as like a, you know, a secondary editor or someone they can turn to in a pinch. Like, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you thinking of me, but that's not the route that I want to go down. That's just, you know, the truth behind it all.
So when working with your current clients, what are your like main responsibilities? Is it just editor, or what else are you responsible for?
It depends on who, right? So I think that there's like varying levels of what I've done, or what I actively do. So Joe O is probably the biggest example that I have, because that's more that he's the one creator that I work with right now, and shout out to Joe for giving me the opportunity. But he's the one creator I work with right now where I have my hands around just about everything. Where I have, you know, I kind of oversee all 3 of his YouTube channels. I oversee the content that goes on those YouTube channels. I oversee, you know, the editing for all of them. I oversee the SEO, the marketing. Pretty much the only thing I don't do with his channels are the thumbnails, because I am not a graphic designer. That is one thing. I'm super good with Microsoft Paint, but that's about as far as you'll catch me.
Oh, don't even mention that, man.
That's about as far as you'll catch me with graphic design. But I oversee a lot of stuff with Joe, and just kind of like, you know, curating ideas, you know, sometimes curating, you know, the, what's the word I'm trying to think of? The scripts, curating a lot of that stuff. You know, Joe has a short form editor that he works with, and I'll work on posting schedules for that. And I'll work on, you know, like getting stuff up on the channel, spreading it out, you know, keeping up with analytics, things of that nature. And then with the other creators that I work with, Joe's probably the most active, but the other creators that I work with, it's bits and pieces of that. So with E, it used to just be editing. And also shout out to Big E, because E was helping me learn SEO. E's kind of, I don't want to stroke his ego too much, you know, if and when he listens to this, but E likes to joke that he made me. And to an extent, that's correct. Just don't tell him I said that, right? To an extent, that's correct.
It's definitely getting clipped. It's definitely getting clipped.
Right. I owe a lot to Big E. I owe a lot to his ability and his teachings to me, and learning the ins and outs of YouTube, learning the ins and outs of editing, what to look for, how to story tell,
right.
All of that sort of stuff. So, but when I'm working with other creators, it's bits and pieces of that, right? So if it's it's either like sitting down with John C. Stout, right, and saying, okay, here are videos that have performed well in the past. Here are keywords that have performed well in the past. Here are video lengths and your analytics and all that stuff. Like, here's what you've worked on. Let's take these ideas and make something out of it. I am Rob. He's been killing it on his own. But I remember having conversations with Rob on trying to figure out direction of his channel, right? And trying to figure out like ideas to have. And I'm thankful for him for trusting me with some of those ideas and sharing some of those ideas and molding them and being like a sounding board for him when he needed it. So it's just combinations of all that sort of stuff, between editing and directing and SEO and everything in between.
Right. Yeah. I feel like your strength is just being a jack of all trades. You know, you can do editing, you know about SEO, you know about channel strategy, you know about how to like even be that content manager, content director, or whatever title you want to apply to that, like the planning side, a bunch of things. Are you doing this full time?
So I'm not, and this has actually shocked a lot of people that I've talked to very recently. So it's really weird to explain sometimes. So I am a contractor. So technically not like a construction contractor or anything like that. I work it's not even really like full time, but like one of my core gigs. That's kind of the best way for me to. That's probably how I should start explaining it to some people. One of my core gigs outside of the editing and content creation stuff that I do is I am an operations manager for a lead generation sales organization. So sales is like my primary background. Since graduating college, running an IT store. I worked in insurance for a little bit, doing direct sales and all that sort of stuff. But I am an ops manager for like a lead gen organization. And basically what that entails is I am running point, working for, I think now I'm up to 9 or 10 clients that need the company's services. And I'm assigned a sales team to work for that client. So I'm basically the play caller who helps make all the things happen that the client is requesting of us. And our job is to go out and find prospects and find leads just to have an opening conversation with whomever the client is. So that's like my kind of like main gig. That's my, the opportunity that I had before I started getting very serious with content and editing and directing and things of that nature. Right. The kind of good thing, and we were talking a little bit about this before we went live. The funny thing is that because of my content background, my company now, they trust me to do our training and our LinkedIn outreach videos. So I actually self-create all of our marketing videos that we have by myself here in my office. So they know that I have a background in that. They know I know what to do with a camera and how to video edit. So they're like, oh, hey, can you make a video around this? Yeah, sure. Hey, can you make a video around this? Absolutely. So I actually just shot one right before this. And I'm going to get it posted on our LinkedIn later today, just to kind of like put out there into the world. So
do you fully,
that's been it.
Oops, sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's just like a cool blend of kind of like mashing my worlds together.
Yeah. Do you fully work remote?
I do. Yeah. So the company's based out of Ontario, Canada, but we have, I think we're like 65 or 70% of our contractors and all of our sales folks, ops folks, all that jazz work in the United States.
Okay.
And it works out really well for the content stuff that I do, right? Working with, creators and whatnot, because I'm not like a salaried full-time employee there. Like I said, I'm a contractor. So it works out really well because my schedule is my own. I can literally make my schedule week to week, day to day for however I want to do it. So I actually make that schedule to where it's very Monday, Tuesday, Thursday heavy. So I have time to do any sort of content stuff sprinkled into those days, but also Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all that jazz. Right. So it's a nice little balance to where I don't feel like I have to be sitting in front of, this computer. I don't have to be sitting in this office. I can go and work out somewhere else in the house, or I can go to a coffee shop, or I can leave in the middle of the day and not feel guilty about not being in front of my computer, which was always I felt for me was a problem with like a full-time gig. So it's nice to be able to like sit back a little bit and have that freedom.
For sure. Yeah, that was going to be like one of my other questions is how do you balance that? But it seems like you kind of already have that figured out.
I wouldn't necessarily call it figured out.
Yeah,
it's like the $1 million question, right? Like how do you figure out the best optimal schedule for your day? Like no, it's a constant thing. Between what I do, what my wife does, our daughter's schedule, like all of that sort of stuff, because my wife works from home too. So we're very blessed and fortunate to be in positions where we can both work from home. We can be home to, raise our daughter. We can be home, for the new baby whenever they arrive. So there's a lot of things that are working well for us. And there are ups and downs to the scheduling. So for example, this week, my wife is also a band nerd. Put that out there. She teaches a band, a local high school band here. And so she's out in the middle of the day. So I have to then balance everything that I do with making sure I'm keeping an eye on my daughter and she's not running around the house, destroying things. Right. So there's definitely a balance to it. It takes a lot as a parent, but I think I'm blessed with the opportunities that I have to where like my schedule can be flexible. And it still allows me time to get ample. I wouldn't call it ample. That's lying to myself. To be able to get a decent amount of sleep, still be able to get up in the mornings and go to the gym, just everything in between.
What are your do you have aspirations of going full time in what you're dealing with content right now?
I think eventually, yeah. I to put like a rough goal on it, I would love to be full time in this. By the time that our second is born. I think that's going to happen in, what's today, July 27th. So, I mean, that's going to happen in, 6 months, 5 months or so, whatever that timeline is in February.
Right.
So that it's a decent amount of time to be able to figure stuff out. A lot can change in that time. There's a lot that's scary about it, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I think eventually it would be cool. I've talked with a couple other creators about doing this, about starting our own thing where, we have the ability to have like a little bit of a creative agency. And I don't know all the details that go into that yet. I don't know how all of that looks. There's a lot of things that go into those decisions, but, to be able to run kind of like my own thing, I think the corporate world, as comfortable as it can be in some aspects, it's also very restricting to what we do as creatives, and what we do as directors and everything else that you want to put under our belts. So I'd love to be able to get to that point, come beginning of next year, if it's possible. If it's not, if I can take steps to move in that direction, awesome. All of it is in the goal of just making sure that I'm still a valuable asset to the people that I work with, and that I'm still like a present husband and father. Those are like the two most important things, not in that order. If my wife is listening, not absolutely in that order, but
yeah, flip
like,
those
are
around
the two.
real quick.
Flip them around. Yeah, I want to be a good husband, a good father, and then a good asset. But like those are like the big things that stick out to me in terms of like the what and why behind what I do.
Right. Yeah, that whole aspect of like having your full-time gig and then doing something, on the side, like your passion thing. I feel like that has also become super common because I think people are realizing that, like, thank goodness it wasn't me, but like people that got laid off and like then they realized that now they have to, they were dependent on something that maybe they didn't fully enjoy, but it was, comfortability, and they were getting a paycheck, and now it's, some people took it as an opportunity to go in and dive super deep into something that they really love, and some people made it in, well, I don't, obviously not some people made it, but some people's situation turned into now they're stuck, you know, not wanting to take the jump because they want, you know, they're still trying to either find something or, you know, in that case, in that scenario, you know, it's always very interesting to see people that have the full-time gig and the part-time gig, where their passions lie. And it's it's awesome to see where if it lies in both scenarios, you know, if their passion is inside their full-time and their part-time, and then everything is just super cohesive, and it's fantastic to see. But it's also awesome to see, you know, the flip side where they have aspirations of going full-time in their passion, and they're, you know, they're biting the bullet now, but they all know in due time it's like it's going to happen, you know, those types of scenarios. That's very common with the content creator space, especially the smaller content creators, you know. It's you know, they're doing they're streaming, they're producing short form, long form content most of the time by themselves, and they also have their full-time gig that they're just pushing through. They're just pushing through to get it done. And I know if there's employers on here that have been that they don't really like hearing that, but you know, that's the case. You know, you, at the end of the day, if you're a good person, you want to make sure the people that you're close to are doing what they love, and the people, and as an employer, you know, if your employees aren't loving being employed by you, you know, you don't, you know, they're not enjoying their time working for you, and it's only, you know, it's only beneficial for them to go do what they want to do, you know.
Right.
That we could go, you know, on that whole road of, you know, doing what you want and doing what you enjoy, but you know, it's just, it's so nice to see, you know, like your scenario. Like, I can't even imagine, I don't want to say pressure, but the amount of things that you're responsible for, and also, you know, with your aspirations to go full time in what you're doing on the side right now, you know, I can't even imagine what you're thinking about, and like, oh, what if this goes, you know, what if this doesn't go how I want it to go, you know, those type of preparations and everything like that. I can only imagine.
I think it really worked out in my favor, because before I took my sales gig that I have now as a contractor, I had never worked as a contractor before. From going straight out of college, I always had like a salaried position. It was something that, you know, you're salaried, you're guaranteed this amount of money per month. You know, here's your contract for accepting the terms of this salary offer. You get health benefits, you get all of this sort of stuff. And that's great. And like I said before, some people like that, and some people like to be that comfortable. And honestly, for a long time I was, and sometimes I even still miss it, to be honest with you. You know, not having to worry about getting your taxes taken out, or like auto depositing stuff into a 401k, or having, you know, guaranteed health benefits as a part of your company, like all of that BS. There's sometimes that I miss it. However, it was a somewhat scary leap to go from a salaried position in insurance where I was working to, you know, to being an ops manager like I am now, because it's contract. So I'm like, there's a base salary that I get every month, or a base commission rather, that I get every month. And then there's incentives that we stack on top of that, just depending on how the month goes, or things of that nature. It can be one thing one month and one thing another. But there is a base to that, which I appreciate. And then they also kind of are lucky enough, or rather I'm lucky enough to be taken care of for some of the insurance stuff too, so that I take care of all of our insurance for the family. You know, we go through the marketplace and all that jazz, but you know, they provide a little bit on top to help pay for that, which I'm thankful for. Right. But I think that leap that I took, I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. That leap that I took makes everything a little bit more comfortable with content, because I already took that leap, because I already know, okay, I'm not salaried. I have to really take care of my own taxes. I have to really take care of my own health insurance. I know how that all works now. So I think I'm a little bit better set up for everything else that comes with it, with content, where if I needed to make the leap from working all of my gigs to only doing content, I'm already set up for that, because I've done it once already. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't scary the first time I did it, but it was definitely possible. And it was something that, as long as you sit down strategically and you think about it and you know, okay, I've got X, Y, and Z lined up, then the leap becomes a little easier, or at least the decision of the leap becomes a little easier to make.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it all kind of boils down to for me,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm, like I said, I'm thankful to have been put in those positions and learn from it. So now I know, okay, here's all the moving parts that I've got right now. And you're right. There's a million things that go on in my head. It's like looking at a Chrome browser with 87 and a half tabs going on. But it's set me up, I think, pretty nicely, to be able to deal with certain experiences or deal with certain situations in specific ways.
Are you a big planner?
Yes and no. So I'm a big planner to where I like to make sure that I've got things set up in terms of like a loose schedule. So for content, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I know Joe, for example, if I know that we want to post on his main channel 3 days a week, his vlog channel we want to do maybe once a week, his secondary channel we want to try and do every day, his Facebook channel we want to do every day, I know, okay, these are all the things I have to line up.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, if I'm planning out in knowing, like if I'm trying to plan like a trip, or if I'm trying to plan to like go somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
I will plan the getting there. I will plan the like things that are available to do in those places, but I don't want to be rushed around. If I know that I have time to accomplish things and I know I have a time window,
Right.
I want to do whatever I want within that time window.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like be rushed around or anything like that. So hopefully that makes sense. But like, it's just with the content planning stuff, I like to know, okay, I need to know, okay, I've got this video to do today. I've got this video to edit tomorrow. I can do these on one day and then have more time for another project and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So like last week alone, I had the last 2 weeks alone, I've had 3 vlogs, 8, 9, 10, 11 full length videos that I've had to do.
Wow.
And laying those out was a little bit of a challenge, but we got it all done. We got everything done on time. Mm-hmm. And it just takes like knowing, okay, I'm going to edit this today. I'm going to edit this tomorrow. I can do these in the afternoon, and then I can do it at night too. So mm-hmm. It works out pretty well.
What are those, I guess this question was initially going to be about like, the editing process and going from creator to editor to, refinement and then finished mm-hmm. product. But since you do so much, I feel like I can't really center that question.
Right.
So like I wanted to ask about the process of everything, but I feel like it's just like from the start of a week, right? You can use whoever you want for this, but I guess from looking a week in advance, right? You're planning out everything for a week in advance. What's that process look like? Like, are you involved? Like you said, for Joe, for example, you're involved in like everything. So like, are you involved in script writing, ideas? Mm-hmm. Do you help like with the thumbnail concepting, or is that completely different?
Sometimes I'll help with the thumbnail concepting, just kind of giving the ideas of saying, okay, this is the core idea. This is how I'm editing the video. Mm-hmm. If you want to like take elements of that and put it into the thumbnail, go for it. Mm-hmm. Or if there's sometimes where I'm like, I'll get the video done and just say, here's the video. If you want to watch it and get some ideas, I'm not sure what you want to make of this. I don't really have any ideas, whatever it is. I'll let him do it. And Joe's designer, his name is Josh. He's a killer designer. He actually just went full time himself, doing like graphic design and stuff like that. So awesome. Shout out to him just for being a freaking stud, but for also just being a killer editor, and creating ideas out of seemingly nothing, sometimes, or the lack of information I give him. But to kind of talk on, gosh, like the planning process, it's a little bit of controlled chaos. That's kind of like the best way I can put it. There's some days where I know, I'll set up a week and know, okay, these are all the things I know will be coming over the week. I may not know details, right? I might not know Wednesday we're going to do this, Thursday we're going to do this, Friday I need to have this done, but I'll know, okay, I know we're going to post videos along this type of schedule. Mm-hmm. And then usually it boils down to like a 2 to 3 day advance notice on certain specific projects.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're coming up with an idea, for example, we posted a video, gosh, what's today? Thursday. We posted a video yesterday, a loadout video on Joe's main channel. We came up with that idea Monday night,
Mm-hmm.
and I got all the content on Tuesday. So it only gave me about like a 24-hour ish turnaround on that video, which is fine. I had plenty of time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's sometimes where it's like that, right? Where it's like, oh, we should do this. This is a good idea. This is a good hot topic. Let's get it done. 24 hours is turned around and it's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other ideas where it's like, okay, I know for one of Joe's vlogs that he recently did, he went to Vegas with the MFAM creator gauntlet and stuff like that with Nick Merckx. I had that vlog footage on a Sunday, and I think I had the vlog posted by Friday. So that's like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to plan this out. I'm going to take and spend more dedicated time editing this, but in smaller chunks, to make sure that I crank it all out and do it to the best of my ability. So, and then on top of that, it's just checking little boxes in between. Like I just invested in an iPad mini that's got like checklists on here. Yeah. So I know, okay, if I'm going to post a video to YouTube, I need to make sure I have all of these things in line. And then I need to make sure that it goes over to Facebook. I need to make sure that is all in line. I need to make sure that I keep up with the schedule. I'm posting things in multiple places, all that sort of stuff. So it's a little bit of day by day. It's a little bit of like a 50,000 foot view, if you want to think about it that way. So, but like I said, it's all controlled chaos, because every day, no 2 days are the same. But there's always a baseline foundation of knowing like, okay, these are the things I need to try and get done today.
Yeah, the organization of everything. When you said checklist, I have a book that I like a little notebook thing that I use for one I use for my personal stuff, and then I have one every day for work that this page is empty. That's awkward.
There's nothing on here today.
Yeah, but like all this checked off stuff, the organization side of things is just so important. I think you just can't do enough of it.
I used to
flow a little bit better,
Yeah, I used to handwrite all of my notes when I had like my salary gig when I was working in insurance. I had like a dot journal that I would sit down every Monday, and I would make out my planner, and I would know, okay, I need to do this on this day, this on this day. I'd have a task list that I'd cross out, move things around, the whole 9 yards. I had a whole system. And then when I left and I switched, I went more digital. And part of me wants to go back to that, going more handwritten and all that sort of stuff. But because I have so many different devices that I'm operating on at any given moment, unless I'm sleeping, it's more convenient to be in I'm in an Apple ecosystem for that whole Apple versus Android BS. But having that ecosystem is so nice, because now I can say, okay, set a reminder. I've got it here. I can look at it on my iPad. I can plan out the day. I can transfer it to my Mac, and I can get all that done. So It's just like it all flows into one another. So, whatever way works for the individual, awesome. My way is not perfect whatsoever. I could probably make it a lot better, but we're slowly getting there, right? We're taking baby steps.
It's got to start somewhere,
Right.
The whole like workflow is definitely something that everyone gets used to. They figure out what works for them and what works best, what doesn't work, what different types of things, there's even suggestions from other people. You explore a lot of things until you find what's good for you. And it's the consideration. Like I've considered like how I can plan everything out, like the organization side, how I can plan all that out to the best of my ability, so I manage my time, the best way. And like, I feel like time management is just so important when it comes to stuff like this. It's just like, like you obviously know what you have to get done, but then like making sure it's in front of you, and whether you want to write down an allotment of time, or whether like, this is what I have to get done today. Here's 5 things. This is what I have to get done tomorrow. Here's 4 things. Can I take something from today and switch it to tomorrow so I can devote a little bit more attention? Then you kind of have more of an idea of what needs to be, how like then you can either, whether it's in your head, or I know some people structure out their day on their calendars like hour by hour, which I think is insane. That's so insane.
There's some people out there that like time. I don't know if you've ever time blocked before. Like time blocking is like, you know, for anyone who's listening out there, is the, you know, where you basically say, okay, every day from 1 to 2 I'm going to do this.
Right.
Every Monday, Thursday from, you know, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m, like I'm going to dedicate my time to this. And I tried that for like 2 days. And that just didn't work, man. Like I was like, no, because I was always so distracted. Like my mind works like a freaking, you know, golden retriever. I'm always like, oh shoot, I need to do this, or oh, I need to write this down. Let me stop what I'm doing and answer this email, or, you know, deal with this phone call, or edit this clip real quick. Like I can't operate by time blocking. That's a lost concept on me.
I feel like it only works with people that, like people that have a lot of control over their, you know, over their, whether, you know, over their professions or over what they're doing, you know, like like in what you're doing, like what you just said, like if someone comes up, like if someone asks me, I need to get this done in an hour, you know, and I have something time blocked for now, I can't focus on that time block. I have to get this done, you know? So it's like
exactly
in something where something can come up by the snap of a finger, and all of a sudden you have to drop everything or drop, you know, something in your day and substitute it, you know? Yeah, it's time blocking. Like time blocking for parts of a day, you know, whether it's like a morning routine or, you know, like a like a nightly routine. Like usually the middle of the day is just chocked full of what you have to be responsible for, and not the whole time is that going to be able to be A, B, C, D. It's A, E. You know, sometimes Z is getting moved to the front.
I'm touching Q and then coming back to B. Like, what the hell just happened?
Exactly.
It's 6 o'clock. I need to cook dinner. Like, it's just the whole day's blown up, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to stay up an extra hour tonight to make sure I can like at least catch up a little bit, and then, you know, finish the rest of the day out.
Right. Yeah. I feel like if like I've done time blocking too, and it's sometimes I feel like if I didn't do what was in that time block, I felt like I didn't get anything done. But in reality, my attention was focused to something that was more important to me at the time. And I started making myself think that was wrong, you know? And it's like, in reality, like if it's more important to you and you're enjoying it, just, you know, get it done. And there shouldn't be a hard cap on the time allotment there, you know?
Yeah. There's always I try to think of it as like, there's always a priority hierarchy behind it.
Right.
Even if two things are almost equally important, there's always an advantage to getting one done over the other, or there's more pros to getting one thing done over the other. So I'm going to go with that right now and then figure out the rest later.
Yeah. The prioritization, like I feel like, well, that's like part of it when I write down my checklist in the morning, is what's most important goes on the top, especially if something rolls over from the previous day. It's like that goes right to the top of my to-do the next day, and then everything just kind of trickles down to where, you know, I have some sense of it in my head, but it's just like I know what I have to get done, and it's always a positive, you know, if you get everything done, and it's like, oh, I have an extra, you know, hour, 30 minutes at the end of my workday here to be able to like, oh, let me go concept for something new, or let me, you know, work ahead for tomorrow, so tomorrow's a little bit less stressful, you know. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I truly believe in the time blocking for like morning routines, you know, like a 2-hour allotment where, you know, you're not going to have any other, you know, things, whether you have to read or whether you like, I eat breakfast in like a 30-minute allotment. So then, you know, the rest of my 2-hour morning routine can just be, you know, kind of laid back, and I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
It's, for people that do it all day, it's like you got to have some different sense of control over, you know, over everything that you do. And
absolutely.
And like, also you have to be in a position where if something does come up, you can't like, you're in a position to be like, I can't do it. You know, you can assign it to someone else, or, you know, I feel like time blocking works for people that own their own stuff and, you know, have that power to be able to just, you know, say, no, I can't do it, I have this going on, just go to someone else, you know?
yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It's a very like the lifestyle has to be like super, I'm just going to say it again. Yeah. It just has to be in control to where the average person, I guess, to put a label to it, the average person, that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on today. It's been
Absolutely
fantastic having a conversation with you and learning a bit about what you do and everything like that. To say I wasn't nervous would be a lie. I'm always nervous when I go into this, but for something like for someone that had like someone that does what you do, I haven't really had those type of people on the podcast before, and I feel like, you know, you can write notes out so many times, but once you get in the conversation, it all just, you know, kind of flows, and it was really awesome talking with you today, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like having these conversations too, because I think that in the creative space, everyone looks up most of the time to a creator. And I'm not saying this to say, oh, everyone needs to look up to me. I don't want that. Right. I said it at the beginning. I like to be the person in the back end that gets some stuff done. But right. The biggest thing that I always try to tell people, and that I always like to highlight, is that there are other sides to content creation. There's other sides to gaming. There's other sides to esports. And I don't think that there's a lot of people who really realize that out there. And I'm always somebody who, there's people who have come to me and basically said, oh, you used to stream and you don't anymore? Well, you're a failed streamer. And if that's the label you want to give me, that makes you feel better in your life. Sure, I'm a failed streamer. But I've been able to take everything I learned through that process and apply it to still be, in some regards, somewhat relevant in the space to some people, right? I've been able to take everything that I've learned and, you know, become a content editor, director, you know, somebody who knows enough around a conversation with SEO and all of this sort of stuff. So the thing I always preach to people is, you know, if you want to stream and you want to create your own content, absolutely, I think you should do it. Don't just up and quit your job and sell your house and, you know, give away your firstborn child or your dog or whatever to make it all work. Don't do that, but try creating content, see what you like about it, see what you don't like about it. But the minute that you fall out of love with it, or the minute that you don't enjoy it anymore, start analyzing the things that you do enjoy. Start analyzing the things that, you know, make you happy. Is it editing? Is it graphic design? Or is it, you know, writing out scripts for people? You know, whatever the process is it creating commands or like stream layouts and transitions for people? Like if that's what you like doing, there's a place for you. There is absolutely a place for you in other people who don't enjoy being the face of something, who don't enjoy being on camera, or just don't find as much joy in doing that. Sometimes I miss streaming. I'll be honest. I've thought about every once in a while streaming again, just for fun, just to like reconnect, because I enjoy having conversations like this with people. But at the end of the day, like, I know that that's not the thing that's going to make me like the next freaking Tin the Tap Man, right? Or the next ninja. I'm not going to get there by streaming, but I can get, you know, relevant in my own space to my own self and successful in my own regard to doing what I'm doing. So that's that. I enjoy conversations like this, kind of full circle. I enjoy conversations like this to highlight points like that. It's just to don't feel like you're a failure if you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, but I'd love to be a video editor. I don't want to do this anymore, but I'd love to be a graphic designer. Like, absolutely. Like, admitting that it takes some stones, to be honest with you, but doing that, I think, is way better than beating yourself into submission, just repeating the same thing every single day and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to make it as a streamer. It's like, I'm going to tell you right now, no, you're not. Not everyone out there is going to make it as a streamer. And that's a harsh reality. That, you know, I don't mean to be mean saying that, but I also,
it's part of it.
I'm not going to blow smoke telling you, yeah, man, hit that live button and stream for 13 hours again. It'll happen eventually. Like, it's not. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. But there are other things that you enjoy in there that you can keep doing. So find those things and dig into them, man. Just keep digging at those, because you'll find those and you'll find ways to build up something that you'll be more proud of and you'll be happier about looking back on it at the end of the day.
For sure. Well, I love that, man. I love it. Wait, what a thing to close out the episode, for sure.
Happy to. There's my soapbox for the day.
Yeah, for sure. For the audience, go down below, check out Joe. Oh my goodness, Sooners links. Check out. Sooners
I mean, you
links.
can check out Joe's links too,
They'll
because
be
I do all that stuff. But you can check out my links as well. It doesn't matter.
check out Sooners links. Go connect with him. Everything probably, yeah, everything related to Sooner will be down below. So go down below, check out what he's about and everything on social. Go connect with him. But anyways, this has been episode 86 of the Creative Process Podcast with myself, Jared Klein. I hope you have a great rest of your day, month, year, whatever, whenever you're watching this. And as always, make sure you tell someone that you love them. All right, we will see you in episode 87. Take it easy.